You know, as I think back and remember previous conversations that I've had with other human beings, previous situations that I've been in, I constantly think about all of the missed opportunities to improve myself as a person, missed opportunities to become a better man, missed opportunities to make more money, missed opportunities to stand up for myself, missed opportunities to rise to the occasion, depending on what the occasion was. Sometimes I can just shrug it off and say, as long as I've learned something, then it's not really a missed opportunity because I was given the opportunity to learn something. Other times, I feel as if nothing really made a difference. I make a mistake or I miss an opportunity and I don't learn the lesson because I don't take it down, or worse, I just forget about it and then I relive the lesson again and again and again and again. I'll use a couple of real life examples. Now, I'm not just going to use myself, I'm going to use other people that I've met. So, first example that comes to mind. If I'm having a debate with somebody and I have strong beliefs about something, and they have strong beliefs about something. For example, I'm on a little holiday with a few friends. This was a few years ago when things were relatively normal. A few of us decided to go to Greece. Um, it took a while for me to save up that money. I was in debt and I was trying to do one little venture or another. I was trying to make it as a YouTuber. I was trying to learn how to produce music, and I was spending too much time honing new skills, but not enough time actually making money because I wasn't employed. But I managed to get a quick little job washing dishes in some restaurant, and I saved enough money to go on the trip with my friends. It was hell, but I managed to do it. Not the job itself, but the process of saving money and, spending hours walking from one part of London to another just to get to work because I didn't have enough money to um, get on a bus or a train. But it worked out. I got to Greece. I'm having an interesting conversation with a friend of mine about the importance of success. I don't even remember how it came up, but the topic was about the importance of success, particularly financial success. At least that's how I remember it. I was, for some reason, stressing the importance of financial success. Of course, as I previously mentioned, I was in debt. I was in between jobs by the time I, um, started enjoying the holiday because I had decided to leave the job where I was washing dishes for the restaurant in order to um, enter a new job, which would be making telesales calls, telemarketing calls, um, while being employed by a small IT company. And I was thinking about all of this in the back of my head as I'm trying to explain to my friend why it's so important to be rich, why it was so important to be successful. And he seemed very offended, um, or at least a little annoyed that I automatically equated success with becoming very wealthy and becoming very rich. He did not believe that being successful had anything to do with making a lot of money. Now, he and I had different beliefs. He believed, and he possibly still believes, that to be successful, you need to, you know, work on yourself, grow as a person, work on your personal development. I've forgotten exactly what he said. Perhaps he was talking about fitness and becoming a better man, etc. I don't actually remember, so I'm not going to pretend that I remember, but I remember the feeling of judgment and rejection of my own ideas, him rejecting my idea that becoming really rich automatically meant that I was successful. Now, whatever you believe, whatever you think or feel when watching this video, whatever your political beliefs are, whether you believe in capitalism or socialism or communism or something else entirely, whatever, we, depending on where you are in the world, let's say you're living in the United Kingdom or America, we live in a society that is, for the most part, capitalist. We flirt with socialist aspects like free healthcare and, universal education up until a certain age, like free education, I should say. But, really, we are all about the money. The private sector, all about the money. The public sector, it's necessary. We need to have teachers and police and stuff, but ultimately those institutions have to be funded, otherwise they're not going to work. If they're not funded, the people in the public sector can't get paid, and if they don't get paid, they can't live their lives. They can't pay the rent, pay the bills, eat food, feed their families, pay electricity, whatever. They can't drink anything. Whether we like it or not, the way we live our lives, we are all about the money. Some people more than others, and to a higher degree than others. We're still in this pandemic time. From what last I heard, America's going to be facing a second lockdown, and there's already a second lockdown here in England. Even though we were told by our masters that that's never going to happen, we're going to fix everything, we're going to open things up slowly again, and things are going to return back to normal. Of course, everyone and their mother knew that was not the case, and that we will eventually have a second lockdown once COVID cases increase. Because, of course, people are starting to mingle with each other again, and that's what happened, and now we're in a second lockdown. Why is this important? I'll tell you. It's important because this year is an amalgamation of missed opportunities, not just on a political scale, but I feel that it's been a year of missed opportunities personally. I will go further into that, but first, I'll go back to what I was talking about with my conversation with my friend in Greece. So, I'm talking to my friend in Greece. We're talking about success. He thinks success is about becoming a better person, etc. I think becoming a better person is great, but I'm more focused on the money, particularly how I was, struggling financially. Just like many people are struggling financially now. And we're amongst other friends, and we're having this little debate, me and my friend here. Instead of doubling down on my beliefs, I just, I didn't lower my head, but I almost backtracked on all of my beliefs. Like my entire core belief system, I almost backtracked on it because I don't know, I didn't want to face conflict or confrontation. This is very important because it seems to be part of my personality. I'm not afraid of what people think of me, most of the time at least. I understand now that I am getting older, that what people think most of the time doesn't really matter. And ironically, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but if you're offended, again, I don't give a rat's ass. I really don't care. Because, first of all, people change their mind all the freaking time. Secondly, people can be easily manipulated. So if they think one thing, you give them a good argument or you shove political agendas down their throat using the media and film, eventually you can make somebody believe in something completely different. Another thing is, I don't know whether I said A, B, or one or two, but the third thing, or C, another thing is what people seem to think isn't entirely their original thought. It's an amalgamation of what they've heard and what they've seen and what they've experienced, and also the thoughts and opinions of the people around them. So if I grew up in a relatively wealthy family, I would have certain beliefs. I would have experienced my life with a certain worldview. But since I've grown up in a relatively not so affluent family household, didn't grow up with much money at all, I have a different worldview. My worldview is not going to be the same as, oh, I don't know, Donald Trump. Just like his worldview is not going to be the same as mine. How does this relate to financial success? Or the little debate I was having with my friend. Well, it turns out there's quite a connection there, because my worldview, even though my friend that I was having a little debate with also did not come from a rich background, he came from a relatively poor background as well. He was trying to talk about how money and success are not intertwined at all, but I was talking about how it was. See, since my beliefs were more capitalist than him, we weren't going to see eye to eye in that within that topic, but I shouldn't have easily backed down, especially when, other people were watching us discuss, because it's almost sickening when a human being, you know, when a human being throws away their principles for the sake of not getting into conflict or not, confronting somebody on the possibility that they might be wrong. You need to be somebody of principle. And one of my core principles is the fact that money is very flipping important. I mean, we've all heard many a time that people, when they get married and then they get divorced, like the biggest cause of divorce is, money issues and arguing about money. A lot of problems that we faced in certain communities, if you really think about it, come from a sense of lack. And you can derive that from poverty. I don't care what you say. You can think that I'm wrong, but whatever. You have to look at so many families, not just in the black community, but in general, so many families that have one parent instead of two. Now, we live in a modern society where men can work, women can work, fantastic. But if there's one parent instead of two, that's the average family income halved, right? So the kids are going to be worse off in a one-parent family unit than kids in a two-parent family unit. That's just common sense. But people be trying to act like that it's not an issue, but it is an issue. When you see right-wing conservatives such as Candace Owens talk about how one of the biggest issues in the black community is, the absence of black fathers, and how things like white supremacy shouldn't even be like close to be as problematic I'll rephrase that. She's talking about how the absence of black fathers is way more prevalent and way more problematic than the illusion of white supremacy. When she says stuff like that, I would know a lot of people that would roll their eyes or just, shake their heads because they wouldn't believe it. They think that because of whatever we've heard from BBC or the CNN or left-leaning media platforms. The BBC is not left-leaning, forget that. But the CNN is. CNN is. When they're trying to talk about police brutality and systemic racism and oppression and police and all this. And yes, there's racism, of course. Yes, there are bad cops, just like there are good cops. Yes, there are bad politicians, just like there are good politicians. Yeah, there are bad people that can be racist, just like there are good people. Sure. But when people try to explain to other people that the absence of black fathers in the black community is way worse and way more negatively impactful than, let's say, white supremacy or domestic terrorism caused by white racists, most people don't even want to believe it. Because with racism is an idea. You can't kill an idea. You can't stop an idea. It can be replicated. But absentee fathers, that's something that's a situation. It's not just an idea. It's something that's happened. So that's more likely to be changed. Now, again, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, how the hell does this have to do with financial success and money and principles? Well, everything. Because you've got all these celebrities that come from one-parent households, or even if they came from two-parent households, one of the parents was abusive or one of the parents was alcoholic, it's something like that, and then they become celebrities. They find that hidden talent and they use that talent to make life a bit more bearable, and they put all their passions into this one thing that they're good at, just so that life can be more bearable, and then they get really good at it and they get noticed and they figure out how to make money out of it, and they become the best of the best and they're celebrated, and they receive the love and the compassion and the celebration that they may not have received during childhood, because they didn't get enough they didn't get enough attention as a child, because one of the parents was abusive or an alcoholic or just absent. So they're living their lives pleasing people, using their talents, like Ryan Reynolds, like Terry Crews, like all these different people. Like I remember Terry Crews saying that his father was abusive and that, and obviously now Terry Crews, he's a bodybuilder of sorts. He's an actor. He's a comedian. I've forgotten exactly what happened with Ryan Reynolds. I think he had an issue with one of his parents. I've forgotten exactly what happened. I'm glad I mentioned him, but I almost regret it because I didn't do enough research on him. But if I just focus on Terry Crews, yeah, that's just one example. But there are many examples. But if I'm being truly honest, that all of these celebrities, they would have faced some sort of childhood adversity, which would mean that they would have had to overcome some things. And now that they are famous and rich, people are associating those things with success and happiness. And in this capitalist celebrity worshipping world that we're living in, for the most part, people want to live like that. They may not want the paparazzi in their face every 5 minutes or to be bombarded with lousy interviews, but a lot of people do want that feeling of affluence and success because they associate those things with happiness and fulfillment. So even though both myself and my friend in Greece, we didn't come from the most affluent of backgrounds, he sees success as an important factor in life, but he doesn't think that money has anything to do with it. At least that's how my memory serves me. But with me, I see money like I see money and happiness like this. Do I think that having more money is automatically going to make me happy? No. There are cases of people not being happy while being rich and successful, like Jim Carrey or Stephen Fry. Like, like for example, like Jim Carrey has had to deal with a lot of nonsense, like he lost his girlfriend and or he's had to deal with, different issues. And you got Stephen Fry with his depression. Those are just two examples of white dudes with a lot of money. They're not automatically way happier than everybody else. They've got their own problems just like everybody else. Money doesn't just remove your problems. It doesn't just make everything better automatically. But I personally believe that once you achieve a certain level of financial success, personal growth is intertwined with this because you have to become a different sort of person to, in my personal opinion, to acquire lots of wealth. Like, it's not just about making a lot of money, it's also about keeping the money. Like, you make money, you invest it into, certain assets like real estate, stocks, the typical stuff that rich people do or financially intelligent people do, whatever. And then when you put your money into assets, the assets are supposed to make your money work for you, and then you make more money, etc., 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 whatever people are saying. It's not that important. But basically, that requires discipline because most people, when they make money, it doesn't matter how much money they make, whether it's 1,000 a month or 10,000 a month, they spend almost all of their money or all of their money or just a bit more than all of their money somehow. They borrow against themselves with credit cards and everything else. But very few people are what we would call, financially free. Like, there are people out there that make lots of money. I'm just scratching my stomach. There are people out there that make lots of money, but they're not happy and they're not financially free because of all the stress of having to make a lot of money in order to spend almost all of it to maintain their lifestyle. That's what people in the middle class do. But the people in the upper class, they found a way to make money, keep it, and make more money out of the money they've made. That's what I'd like to do. It's not just about making money, it's also about educating myself in how to be a better investor, how to be a better business person, how to be better at making money. And then I can teach that to other people and help them as well. I can't save the world, but I can change a few lives once I figure out how to make my own life better. And I find that very important. So if I'm to have a conversation with somebody now about the importance of becoming financially literate, financially educated, and and very wealthy, and somebody's looking at me saying, well, money's got nothing to do with it, how could you be so silly? I'm not going to back down like, a little baby and be like, no, you're right. Of course it's flipping important. Have you seen all of these hardworking people out there losing their jobs? Like, and even if they don't lose their jobs, they've had to, leave the office and stay at home, and they've had to readjust. Money is very important. Money is very important. People were not just going to quit their jobs because they have to stay at home. Of course not. People are not going to just give up on life because some businesses have had to shut down. People have had to adjust. There are millions of businesses all over the world that have had to partially shut down or shut down entirely because of this global lockdown. Money is important because, in order to maintain a lifestyle, in order to feed yourself and / or other people, well, obviously you have to feed yourself as well. you gotta make money somehow. You gotta, you gotta create some sort of living for yourself. I don't care what people say when it comes to whether money is important or not. Money is flipping important. It's very important. The reason why we came out of lockdown in like June sort of time was because like the economy needed to start up again. It wasn't because we got rid of COVID. God no. Like the pandemic is still rife. It's still all over the place. They're talking about having a vaccine now, and they're talking about giving us the vaccine in the next few weeks or the next few months or whatever these people decide. I don't really care. As long as this thing just goes away. There are people who are talking about taking the vaccine or not taking the vaccine. I just care about the things. I just want things to just resemble normalcy so that we don't have to deal with this stuff anymore, because it's getting to the point where people are having pandemic fatigue. They're sick and tired of this nonsense where they have to wear a mask everywhere, and people are also having these morbid fantasies about what the world's going to be like in 5-10 years from now. But back to my main points. 3 things. Number 1, money is very important because it's not the most important thing in the world, but it affects everything in our lives that are the most important things. That's something I got from Kim Kiyosaki. And it's true. Like most people, I don't think care about money that much, like holding coins and paper. Nobody really cares about the tangible cash that we work so hard for. We care about maintaining and advancing our lifestyles, our careers, some sort of purpose in our lives. And unfortunately, you can't do most of that stuff without money. Number 2, if you're trying to figure out what your purpose is in life, what sort of career you want to have, what sort of lifestyle you want to live, and thereby you got to figure out what your budget is and how important money is to you and how important material things are to you and how important traveling is to you and food and whatever. And once you're trying to hone in on your beliefs and figure out who you are and what you believe in, what you care about, and you're trying to talk about these things to other people, friends, family members, say you have a dream, say you want to be the CEO of a Forbes 500 company, whatever it is, you're going to have people tell you that you're ridiculous. You're going to have people tell you that, money isn't everything. Money is nothing. How could you say that money is important? Like, how could you be so materialistic? To hell with them. I'm sure they care about you, but they don't care about your dreams the way you do. Nobody else in this world cares about your dreams the way you do. Not your boss, not your parents, not your family, not your kids. Nobody. No one. If you want your dreams to be a reality, you're going to have to actualize them. You're going to have to set a plan in motion, work on your goals, complete your goals, achieve your goals, and succeed. And for most people, most people, yes, that means making a certain amount of money or raising a certain amount of capital. You can't just be out here talking about how you want to become the greatest dancer in the world with no money. You need money to get there. Money for training, money to travel, money to learn, money to go to an academy or something, whatever it takes. So number 2, stick to your principles. Don't bow down. Don't bow out of your principles because somebody might disagree with you. Otherwise, you're just missing the opportunity to not only stand up for yourself and for what you believe in, but to also show yourself and other people that you mean business. Because nobody's going to respect you if you don't mean business. That's another thing. I think I've spent the majority of my life wondering why I don't receive as much respect as I ought to deserve. And if I'm being really honest with myself, at 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning, I don't know what time this is, it's because I haven't always followed through with what I'm doing. As I've shown some of you, for those of you that actually care about this YouTube channel, you would have seen my Why I Left ACN trilogy. I of course, waffle a little bit, but you're a trooper if you actually give a damn about watching all 3 videos. But to summarize, I joined a multi-level marketing company thinking we're going to make millions and help other people make millions and retire my mom and help my family and all my friends, and we're all going to have Lamborghinis and fancy houses and do whatever we want to do with whomever we want to do it with, whenever we want to do it with. Hooray! And none of that happened because nobody believed in me except maybe 2 people, but those 2 people wouldn't join the business. And the ones that would join the business would quit after a few days or a few weeks, never paid a license fee. Nobody paid anything towards the business. Nobody lost any money because they wouldn't stay in the business. And I didn't see it as losing money. I thought we were going to invest money into our future, into our businesses. But then the people that were leading us, the people that I was following, the people that I was being mentored by, not all of them had great intentions. Most did, if I'm being honest. In their heads, they were like me. They were brainwashed like me. They actually believed that what they were doing was to help other people and to make a lot of money. I'm sorry, like, we're human. Let's help a lot of people and make a lot of money in the process. What's wrong with that? We'd be thinking to ourselves. But when certain vice presidents that only became vice presidents by recruiting a whole lot of people and convincing them that if they buy a few services and they recruit a whole bunch of people that buy a few services, they'll become millionaires too. And most people didn't, but they did because they managed to convince a lot of people that convinced a lot of people that convinced a lot of people, etc. These vice presidents would talk about how they're going to leave the company and they're going to create a brand new company because the old company, ACN, wasn't going to make you a millionaire, but this new company will. And I'm thinking, hang on, I may not be the brightest person on planet Earth. I'm no Einstein, I'm no Elon Musk, but for goodness sake, if you're going to flipping tell me that the old company ACN, I should join ACN so that I could possibly make millions and retire my family and help everybody and achieve all my wildest dreams. And I'm doing it for a year and I'm losing money and I'm going through mental bouts of depression and financial instability. And I'm again walking up and down London trying to get home or trying to get to somewhere because I don't have money for a bus, because I had no goddamn money, because I spent it all trying to fulfill this stupid dream for the sake of strangers I barely know. After all that, you're going to tell me that ACN was never going to be able to do that, and you knew it, but you wanted to develop a plan to create a new company. So now with this brand new company that you're starting from scratch with no leverage, no credibility, no nothing, you're going to tell me that this new company is going to have a greater chance of making me a millionaire if I join that company. Are you freaking kidding me? How does that make any sense? And then you go and tell me that within 12 months, you're going to put your flag, your company flag in South Asian countries, in Western and Eastern European countries, but not in black majority countries, because the black people will have to prove themselves, because obviously the majority of the people joining this new company would be people from the old company who are first and second generation immigrants, who want their mother's country or their father's country to be on the map as well. And how would this be the case? Why would this be the case? Because the black people, the majority of the black people, would be in the lower rungs of the so-called pyramid. So they'd be propping up the Asians and the Europeans, making them more money, because the Europeans and the Asians and a few black people already had huge followings, but they'd have to leave the old company, or at least not leave the old company. They just stay dormant in the old company and just join the new company, and then just make them richer. None of, like, come on, it doesn't make sense to anybody that has graduated high school or secondary school. So I left. I'm thinking this is enough pain for one lifetime. And it's not just me, because I'm one person who gives a damn about me. Imagine if I had stayed in ACN or joined a new company. Have I even told you what a new company is? Do you know what? It doesn't matter, because you'll figure it out. If I have to recruit people, that's what I'm talking about here. If I stayed in ACN or joined a new company, and if I had to try to recruit a bunch of people, I'd promised them the same BS, thinking, oh, maybe if I just believe in myself and believe in these people and believe in the system, that it will finally work out for me and these people. And then these people also go through financial instability, losing friends and family, or at least their friends and family think they're crazy. Also, they have to deal with mental bouts, also, well, of anxiety or depression. Also, they have to hate themselves. Also, they have to have no money. Also, they have to question everything they've ever known about life. All this nonsense. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, even people that I don't like, even people that don't like me. And I know there are going to be people watching this if I ever make this channel successful. If people ever watch this, I know people are going to watch this thinking, well, you quit. Quitters don't win. You're supposed to stick it out in the business, even if it takes years. You don't know what it's like to win. I'm going to make millions in this business, whether it's the same business, a different business, the same industry. I don't care. I'm not going to come at you with the typical arguments of 99.6% of everybody that leaves, that joins a multi-level marketing company loses money, because if you look at it logically, they're obviously including all the people that came and quit. So of course they're not going to make more money than they've lost because they quit. But, if I can offer a rebuttal, they're also including all of the people that spent months, maybe even years, hustling and bustling and rustling and tussling, working hard, trying to make a profitable business out of nothing and then failing miserably. Some people, you know, putting in tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars into something, and then they failed miserably. There are stories of that. It's not hard for me to look for it. It's not hard for you to look for it. You could literally Google it. You could literally search it up for yourself. So if I can find a few, I'm sure I can. When I find a few stories of people losing all that money, I'm going to put it in the description. I'm going to sleep, or I'm going to stay awake. I'm not too sure. But to finalize this video, I just want to say this because I've made up a bunch of points and I feel like I've lost my train of thought. But what's important is, number one, the money is important. Don't let it control you, but don't forget the importance of it and how it can change your life if you know how to utilize it. Number two, stick to your principles. And number three, please, if somebody says something, if somebody believes something, even though you should stick to your principles, that doesn't mean you're not fallible. That doesn't mean you can't make mistakes. And number four, something else that's very important, it doesn't always matter what people think, because people can change their mind. I changed my mind about this business. I changed my mind because I didn't want to cause pain onto others and I didn't want other people to lose money. People can change their mind and people can change perspective. I hope you liked the video. I hope it made some sort of sense. I hope that you comment below on what you thought of it. Share the video with people you want to share it with. Subscribe to the channel, tap the bell. Get some sleep if you're watching this immediately. And look forward to my oncoming videos on communism and other things. Thank you, and see you soon.